Foaming soap dilution. Foaming hand soap is just regular liquid soap mixed with a lot of water. The special foaming pump was actually invented back in 1999 by a Dutch company called Airspray, changing how we wash our hands. The secret is entirely in the pump. You can easily make your own by reusing an empty brand name foaming dispenser. First, pour about 1 part regular liquid soap into the bottom of the bottle. Then add about 4 parts warm water. Make sure to leave an inch of empty space at the top so the bulky pump fits back inside. Gently swirl the bottle to mix the liquids without creating too many bubbles. When you press down on the nozzle, the mechanism forces that watery soap mixture through a tiny mesh screen while pumping it full of air. This instantly transforms the thin liquid into a thick, fluffy cloud of lather in your hand. Doing this at home matters today because it drastically cuts down on single-use plastic waste and saves you money. Bulk melamine sponges. Those famous name-brand cleaning erasers that magically wipe away scuff marks are actually just standard melamine foam. Back in the late 20th century, companies originally manufactured this lightweight material to insulate pipes and soundproof recording studios. Then, in 2003, a major brand realized it made a great cleaning tool. The foam works like microscopic sandpaper. When you get it wet and rub it against a wall, the tiny, glass-hard fibers scrape deep into the microscopic grooves of a surface. As you scrub, the foam physically lifts away baked-on grease, crayon marks, and stubborn grime, leaving a perfectly clean area behind while the sponge slowly disintegrates in your hand. You do not need to pay a premium for a fancy box at the grocery store. You can hop online and buy a massive brick of generic melamine foam for just pennies a sponge, giving you that exact same cleaning power for a fraction of the cost. Bypassing printer ink. DRM Printer Ink Digital Rights Management is a system where manufacturers stick tiny microchips on their cartridges. Back in the early 2000s, companies like Lexmark started adding these chips to lock out cheaper third-party ink. These chips talk to the printer to track ink levels and verify the brand. When the chip says the cartridge is empty, the printer refuses to print, even if you manually add more ink. To get around this block, you use a small tool called a chip resetter. You align the pins on the resetter with the gold contacts on the cartridge chip and press down until an LED flashes. This wipes the chip's memory, telling the printer it is brand new. Next, you take a blunt syringe filled with bulk ink, pierce the cartridge, and slowly inject the liquid. The printer then reads the reset chip and resumes printing normally. Knowing how to bypass these locks still matters today to escape massive proprietary markups. Hacking Coffee Maker, DRM. Back in 2014, Keurig released their 2.0 coffee machines with a controversial new feature built right in. They added digital rights management to their coffee. Inside the brewing chamber, a small light sensor looked for a specific ring of fluorescent ink printed on the top of official pods. If you put in a cheaper grocery store pod or a fill-it-yourself reusable cup, the sensor noticed the missing ink. The machine's screen would just flash an error message refusing to brew your morning cup. But people quickly figured out a ridiculously simple workaround. By cutting out a piece of an official lid with the special ink and taping it directly over the machine's light sensor, the system was completely bypassed. You could also just tape that little scrap to your reusable pod. Suddenly, the machine happily brewed whatever coffee you wanted. This quick piece of tape proved that consumers will always find clever ways to own the things they buy, fighting back against artificial limits on everyday appliances. Reusable microfiber mop pads. Disposable wet mop pads are an unnecessary drain on your wallet. Every time you clean the floor, you throw away about 60 cents. Instead of buying single-use refills, swap them out for washable microfiber cloths. You can buy a pack of reusable pads for the price of one disposable box. To mop, press a dry microfiber cloth onto the bottom of your existing mop. The plastic grips hold the fabric in place. Next, grab a spray bottle filled with a homemade floor cleaner. A mix of equal parts water and white vinegar with a little dish soap works perfectly. You spray the floor, push the mop over the wet spots, and watch the microfiber lift the dirt. Once the cloth is dirty, peel it off and toss it in the washing machine. Microfiber can be washed and reused hundreds of times. This simple swap keeps synthetic waste out of landfills while giving you spotless floors for zero ongoing cost. DIY laundry detergent. Store-bought liquid laundry detergent is mostly water and marketing. Synthetic detergents only really took off in the 1930s, but before that, people cleaned fabrics perfectly well with basic soap. Today, brand-name jugs can cost upwards of 25 cents a load. You can bypass that massive retail markup by making your own dry powder. You just need 3 cheap ingredients. Take a basic laundry bar soap like Fell's Naphtha and shred it fine with a cheese grater. Then mix that grated soap in a large container with equal parts washing soda and borax. When you toss just 2 tablespoons of this powder into your washing machine, the washing soda cuts through the grease, the borax softens the water, and the soap lifts the dirt away. Your clothes come out smelling fresh and looking clean without any artificial dyes or heavy perfumes. This simple mix drops your cost down to mere pennies a wash, proving you do not need to pay a premium just to have clean shirts. Sharpening disposable razors. Gillette introduced the razor and blades model over a century ago, making massive profits by selling cheap handles and expensive cartridges designed to need constant replacing. But those blades do not actually dull as fast as you think. The microscopic edge of the steel just bends out of shape while cutting your hair. You can fix this with a regular pair of denim jeans. Lay the jeans flat on a solid surface. Take your dry, used razor and press the blades against the fabric. Push the razor forward, moving in the opposite direction of how you normally shave so it does not cut the cloth. Run it up the pant leg about 15 times. The coarse threads of the thick denim act exactly like a barber's leather strop. The fabric grabs those tiny, bent pieces of metal and pushes them back into a straight, sharp line. This easy maintenance trick extends the lifespan of a single cartridge by several months, keeping cash in your wallet and unnecessary plastic out of the trash. Vinegar fabric softener. Distilled white vinegar is a simple, natural alternative to the thick, liquid fabric softeners sold in stores. Back in the 1950s, commercial softeners were invented to stop early synthetic laundry detergents from making clothes feel rough. But these traditional softeners actually work by coating your clothes in synthetic waxes and animal fats. Over time, this chemical coating builds up on the fabric fibers. The visible effect is obvious when you look closely. Your towels stop absorbing water, your expensive workout gear traps bad sweat smells, and a waxy slime builds up inside your washing machine, creating a perfect home for mold. When you pour half a cup of white vinegar into the rinse cycle instead, you get a completely different result. The mild acetic acid in the vinegar safely dissolves leftover detergent residue. Your clothes come out naturally soft, not coated in grease. It matters today because making this easy swap extends the life of your fabrics, saves you money, and keeps your washing machine running smoothly without any sour, musty odors. Resealing vacuum bags. This is a simple trick to reuse those expensive disposable bags inside your vacuum cleaner. Ever since the first disposable paper vacuum bags were invented by the Airway Sanitizer Company in 1920, we have been conditioned to toss them out the second they get full, but you do not actually have to throw them away. When your bag is packed with dirt, pull it out of the machine. Take a sharp pair of scissors and cut a straight line directly across the very bottom edge of the bag. Shake all the dust, hair, and debris out into your trash can. Next, fold that open bottom edge over by about an inch. Grab 2 or 3 heavy-duty metal binder clips and clamp them tightly across the folded paper. The visible result is a fully functional bag that holds dirt perfectly without leaking. The vacuum maintains its normal suction power, and the dust stays trapped inside. This matters because it saves you money on constant replacements and cuts down on everyday household waste. Fixing frayed charging cables. Major tech companies sell proprietary charging cords that look sleek but are incredibly fragile. Since the late 2000s, when brands began removing ribbed strain reliefs and switching to softer, PVC-free plastics, these cables have become notorious for breaking. The thin rubber casing right below the metal plug bends back and forth every time you use your plugged-in device on the couch. Over time, that constant stress splits the outer jacket open. You are left looking at exposed silver shielding and tiny, delicate wires poking through the gap. If left alone, the cord will eventually stop carrying power completely. Instead of throwing it away, you can slip a cheap piece of heat shrink tubing over the connector. You hold a hairdryer or a lighter a few inches away. The heat makes the plastic tubing shrink tightly around the frayed section, forming a stiff protective collar. This quick fix reinforces the weakest point of the cable, saving you from buying an overpriced replacement and keeping electronic waste out of the landfill. Homemade appliance descaler. Commercial descaling liquids for coffee makers and kettles are basically just overpriced acid. Companies often charge $15 for a small bottle of water mixed with a little citric acid. You can make the exact same thing at home for pennies. You just need bulk citric acid powder, which people have used for over a century in food preservation, or a cheap jug of standard white vinegar. You mix 2 tablespoons of the powder into water, or make a half-and-half mix of vinegar and water and pour it into your machine's reservoir. When you run a brew cycle, this acidic liquid heats up and washes over the chalky limescale buildup inside the heating tubes. The acid reacts directly with the calcium carbonate. It breaks that hard scale down into carbon dioxide gas and a dissolvable salt. You actually see the cloudy water sputtering out into your mug, clearing away the white crust and leaving the internal parts completely clean. Keeping these machines free of scale means your morning coffee tastes fresh and your appliance will not burn out prematurely. Resetting water. Filter timers. That little red light on your refrigerator water dispenser is supposed to tell you when it is time to change the filter. But it is a widely kept secret that this light almost never measures actual water quality. Instead, manufacturers build in a simple countdown timer. Ever since built-in water dispensers became standard home appliances in the late 1990s, brands realized they could guarantee steady revenue by selling replacement filters. They programmed the fridge to trigger the warning light every 6 months, or after about 200 gallons of water flow, regardless of how clean your tap water actually is. As a result, you see a glowing red warning telling you to spend $50 on a fresh cartridge, even if your current one is perfectly fine. You can easily bypass this by just holding down the water or filter reset button for 3 seconds. The light turns green, and you get to keep using your filter. Understanding this simple trick keeps unnecessary plastic out of landfills and leaves more money in your pocket.